Hey everyone, thanks for tuning in to the Lenny Bros podcast. This is going to be another fun one. We have super coach, legendary guy, Doug Silva. There will be a lot more of him in future episodes. And we have Seth Moniz, a world championship surfer on the WSL, going for a world title this year. He's joining us last minute, and we can't wait to pick his brain. Got my brother Ridge. He's over there on Oahu doing some much needed brain treatments. And so that's why he's over there with the boys, and looking forward to getting into this podcast. These guys are some of my favorite people in the world, so let's get to it.
I had to live a little off. Yeah, I had to cut a bill off. Yeah, but if we be real though.
Libros. We're on.
Yeah, we're on.
You guys been doing a great job.
Oh, thank
Your
you.
followers went up exponentially. Congratulations.
Yeah, we've been stoked. We're psyched to get you guys on. Originally, it was just supposed to be Doug. You hit up Seth, our good friend, and we're psyched you could come on because I think the whole surfing world kind of knows that you guys are sort of the dynamic duo of the tour now. You have the crazy talent in the water and then the super coach. And it looks like you guys have more fun than anybody, which is pretty sick.
I mean, I think that's part of the, part of the model is to have like a lot of fun. You get to these beautiful destinations, and we sometimes have like a week, 10 days of like downtime. So it's all about like being able to hold that space for those 200 to 300 hours to prepare ourselves for that first 20, 30-minute heat. So we find like our ebbs and our flows. We make sure we get Seth at a certain level of confidence and certain level of surfing with energy and speed and equipment. So we have, I don't mind having those like days, a few days before we get there to like kind of ramp up and find that regiment and get him to where he needs to be before the event starts. I usually start off really hot and like kind of piss him, not really piss him off, but like he's like, God, dude, you're not in the event. I'm like, I know, but like I need you to step it up for a hot. Need you to step it up right now. So once he like figures out that he's in actual like contest, I finally get to kind of step back a little bit and be like, okay, thank you. Now we're at the level and the energy level that we need to be. So, you're on your way. Thank you.
Yeah, that's so cool. Seth, how did you first get connected with Doug, and how has it been so far? I think last year you guys almost had a full year. Just describe how it was different with him versus, say, any other coach or doing it by yourself.
I mean, I've known Doug for a long time now, and we live near each other on the south shore of Oahu. And I would always see him in the water, and every now and then he would give me pointers. But every time he'd give me a pointer, it would click, and I'd be like, "Fuck, that makes sense," Like it would kind of really make me go home and think about it. And sometimes it wasn't nice things, which was good. It was hard, honest truth of like, yo, this is what you need to do. You're bogging rail right now. And he told me a few times in the water. And
What did he tell you? Anything that comes to mind?
You're getting real, bro.
I mean, yeah, there's a few times we're surfing. I'm just like hinging over my board. My weight distribution wasn't right. And he told me that a few times, and I kind of got annoyed in the water. And I was like, But then I slowly realized he was totally right.
Wow.
And certain things I struggled with. So eventually we just started doing, little sessions together for a couple of years. And I would text him and say, hey, let's go surf. So I'll go surf with him in the morning, jump in with one of his clients. And we kind of just slowly developed that through that. And then as we became friends and we started hanging out more, I had a coach. I was working with Reynolds Hayes for a while. Then I took a year with no coach. I traveled on the tour. I just said, I'm going to go figure out myself. And that was cool. That was a good learning experience for me, but it was definitely tough to travel the world and kind of put together the whole year by yourself. So, but you know, that was a good lesson. And then he was the one guy I was looking at to bring on with me, but I just wasn't sure how the dynamic of us together was gonna work. You know, traveling together. No
Did
one
you
knows.
guys do a test trip together? Like, okay,
No.
I gotta try this out.
Straight
Or it's
into it.
100%. We're going on tour, Doug.
No, it was like we did. So 2024, I did Pipe by myself, and then Sunset we did together because we were working a lot out there, and I knew he was really great out there, and we did well. I got a quarterfinal finish in that, and then I went to Australia, and I went to Portugal, and then Australia, and I did that by myself as well. And then, you know, I found myself needing a huge result and kind of struggling, like, mentally, personally, with, you know, some life stuff. And I just hit this guy up and I said, can you get on a flight tomorrow morning and
Oh, boy.
help me, please?
Was that out
That's crazy.
West
Like,
Oz
please.
for the
That was
Margaret
West
River
Oz.
Pro?
So
Jeez.
I made I was like, okay, it's on. I was just waiting for the call. I just knew that call was coming. And, you know, Bells Beach, round 2. I watched everything, and I go, this guy is going to call me. I probably just said, call me. I'm not sure, but, and then I was ready. I was probably already packed before you called me and made my playlist. I set all the intentions, you know, pretty much forecast, you know, the coach, like, the word coach, you know, it's kind of like, it's like, there's so many other better words, I think.
So you're like his friend, but what's the level of beyond a friend,
like,
right?
you know,
You're
like
just
like you and I, Kai, we've been able to have such a great balance of like being best friends and then being able to like turn it
Lock
on
in.
when it's time to work. So that's
Yep.
been like us working together over the last 8 years has been a blessing for me transitioning on the tour with Seth. So understanding that whole dynamic of like knowing when you're like a best friend and a companion, and then knowing when it's like you're a mentor and a guide and someone that they entrust when it's time to like lock in and lock down. So yeah, I got that phone call and met them in Melbourne, and we flew west. When we flew west, Seth was passed out. This guy just can sleep on a plane, and Cole was our filmer. I really don't know what he was doing. What does he do?
He was probably eating edibles.
He was probably eating edibles and editing like my front side cutback. And I made a crazy playlist. I'm a full trance house, like on
frequency.
that is like a frequency that is like synonymous with the landscape, the bathymetry, the topography of where we're going. So it's something like layers and depths that, you know, we create portals. Where I stood every day during his heat, I would stand in that same place. There was crazy stuff that we do during the whole process. Like crazy in the sense of like hyper dynamic and like a frequency of connection, so you can actually disconnect and be like free. It sounds kind of like an oxymoron.
Watching the webcast of you two over there in Margaret River, you could tell there was like a high frequency because the camera on the beach would always start aiming towards you, Doug, and then the camera would start aiming out to Seth whenever it was heat, and it would like be locked on you guys. And I don't know if the tour was ready for your arrival. And then with Seth, you know, right, you correct me if I'm wrong, but like you had to do really well in this event to requalify. Like, was it a quarterfinals finish? Was it a semi? I can't quite remember, but I know it was like everything was riding on that. And it seemed like a lot of momentum was on your guys' side. I mean, Doug, you were the only one paddling out, right, before the heats, and you guys were just making a game plan in the water versus just staring at it from the stairs.
Yeah, I mean, the whole week leading up to that, we had really good sessions together, and then Doug was surfing with me every single day and in the water, and honestly, he was wearing his green wetsuit. People were freaking out like, who the hell is this guy? And there was this kind of like weird aura.
You give waves to Gabriel Medina, right? Which is Doug.
Love having for his waves.
Doug was just zipping around the lineup, and guys are just like, who is this guy? But they knew who Doug is, you know. Everyone knows
Yeah.
who Doug is, but I think people were almost like drawing their attention to what was happening and what we were doing, because, you know, everyone's like super hyper focused and like game plan, doing the same, you know, like routine every day. So are we, but just a little louder, you know.
Mhm.
And we were having fun. Even though I was like on the cut line, I had to make a quarters. I was on a gnarly side of the draw of the whole event, and you know the odds weren't with me in that regards. I was coming up against Ethan Ewing in that round before quarters, and you know I had a few gnarly guys at Margaret. So I don't know. I feel like we just slowly built our energy through the whole week, and it was a long time. The contest went to the very last day, so I had to like hold the space of going to bed every night knowing that maybe tomorrow I might not have a job, or I might be, I might get cut. So it was pretty intense, but
It wasn't intense.
this guy kept me, you know, super focused, and almost like I forgot what was happening, and like I didn't book a flight or accommodations for Snapper Rocks, which was happening like 5 days after that event, the Challenger Series. So I just didn't even think about any of that stuff. We didn't plan on going. I booked my El Salvador trip already, which was next. And yeah, it's like we almost just set our intentions like we already made it the whole week, which is kind of scary, but once we kind of committed to that, we just forgot about everything and just focused on surfing every day, doing the same thing, kind of same program, surfing, resting.
And then you're like, but your posture, like we really worked, like we went to these other little kind of private waves and we really worked on his posture, his like fundamentals, his head rotation, his right knee in. We did watch John to make sure we got that apex lined up, no double pumping. And he's so quick and so fast. We just really had to maximize his talent. Like, hey, we're at Queens. You're on a twin fin. Just go be Seth. Like, finally, after 2, 3, 4 years, show the world, show your peers that you belong here. And like, it's going to feel so wonderful for you to like actually display and convey your prowess. And that was like bringing him a lot of energy. We were just bending energy. And as soon as he got his posture right, he was just arcing and like having fun. And I was like, oh my God, this guy's like on.
Yeah, that was like a full breakthrough.
It was a major breakthrough.
Well,
but just to have him catch waves, like I need rhythm. Go catch waves. I need you to catch a lot of waves. I don't care. You have all your landmarks. Go surfing.
For
Yeah,
people
don't
that don't
overcomplicate
know,
it.
what was on the line is that, mid-year cut, you could drop off tour, then you'd be regulated to the Challenger Series. And the Challenger Series is notoriously hard because of the wave quality. It goes way longer than even the tour does throughout the year. And tell us a little bit about that. That's what was like on the line. And sponsors, if you're a tour surfer, definitely your paycheck hinges on if you can remain on tour. And it's gotten progressively harder and harder to be on tour. I mean, some guys qualify and then are out after 5 events. This year, I think it's 7. Correct me if I'm wrong. But
Yes.
just so people know the stakes, these guys train their entire lives to get to this point, and it's like you have to constantly be requalifying. After you make the mid-year cut, then you got to make the final 5, and that's just the intensity that comes with it. So every event matters nowadays.
Yeah, we don't. I think the goal is not to really focus on the cut. The cut. I
Yeah, we'll
mean,
have to cut that one out.
sorry about that, but you can actually leave that in because it's just part of what it is.
That's true.
So we're not going to focus on that either, but we're going to not focus on the cut because we're going to focus on winning a world title.
Did you feel
and-
like the boards that you were riding changed when you started working with Doug? Because I know, Doug, you have, your fundamentals and your baseline of surfing. It really, a certain type of board can really accentuate those maneuvers. Did you guys really work on equipment once you linked up together?
I mean, at the time, yes, we did work on equipment, and he gave me some insights on what he thinks I should be riding, and I definitely took that into consideration. I just moved over to Sharp Eye the last year and a half, so honestly, just it took a minute to figure out what I liked from Sharp Eye and the team, and slowly went through all their models, and finally, kind of before that event, I found like the board that works for me in good waves. Like
What
Martin
was that
River.
model?
It's the HT2Z. So there's a standard HT2, but this one's like a little different. I don't know if you guys out there want to order a Sharp Eye HT2, but you have to ask for the Z. And I'm honestly not sure if they sell that publicly, but I know a lot of the riders been riding that board, and I kind of committed to that board last year. Started really liking it, and so did Doug. So my boards definitely changed a lot, I'd say, the last year and a half. And
Did your dimensions change too? Like your size? Can you tell us what that is?
Yeah, my dimensions definitely changed. I used to ride really wide boards, kind of
Like
boxy
19?
rails. No, not that wide. Maybe 18.5/8.
Okay.
And now I'm at like 18 3/8, 18 half.
Okay. Oh, wow.
For some boards,
Needly.
it just depends.
So nice.
More of my
'Cause you
bigger
weigh-
boards.
Are you 5'9", 156 pounds?
No, I'm like 5'7", 160.
160, yeah.
Um,
So your standard shortboard length, is it still
5'10".
5'10"? Yeah.
Yeah, my standard shortboard length last year went up an inch. So I used to ride 5'9s, and then kind of worked with Taylor Clark and Marcio at Sharp Eye, and they really want my 5'10s were just working better for some reason. Which were
Great.
like my step ups.
More
you could
rail
say.
line.
Yeah, more rail line.
Doug, you
And we
like
just-
more rail line.
I do like Railline. It just, it's more spray, it's more pronounced, and it's more indelible, those turns. And so with these guys at this level, I mean, I'm like really wide on my turns, whatever, but these guys at the highest level, they're able to arc, do that really tight arc, use that rail in a smaller space, which is like, the quest and the goal. So he was starting to surf on that caliber of a John and an Ethan and a Griff. He was finding that apex with that rail, and with his posture and his fundamentals and his equipment started, and his speed and his talent. It was just all just like maximizing his fullest potential, his, really raw Hawaiian loose style, and then refine it into like a really mature, mature professional, high caliber surfer. So it kind of all came together, and it is still coming together really nicely with his equipment and his newfound skill set. So it's been a real great medley of connection in that regard. And Taylor and Marcio, I met them the other day, and they were great. I think they might actually make me a board. I'm so grateful for Kai. I might need a board, please, in
Yes,
time.
sir.
Thank you so much. But I think Taylor's making me a board, and
Killer.
Yeah, it'd be awesome. So Yeah, if that's
When are
all.
they going to do a super like a coach heat? You know, they did that I think a long time ago. We need a coach heat on tour.
Yeah.
Seth,
Gosh.
you got to say something.
That'd be sick. I think honestly, from Margaret's, it seemed like after like just during that event. I mean, they even took a photo. All the coaches were on the stairs and they took a photo, and it was like the coolest thing ever. You had just a bunch of legends. You had coaches with world titles. You had Doug there. You just had a mixed bag of just, core surf guys that been in the industry for, it was like 50 plus years of, knowledge there. So honestly, after that, I think Doug started something there. He definitely, I don't know, he flipped a switch in somewhat. Maybe you're right. I think that's along the lines. There's almost like a competitive edge after that event with the coaches, because it seemed like more coaches started surfing after that event. I would see
They're
more
like, I got to
coaches in the
show them what's up.
Yeah. This guy was paddling out with me at 5 in the morning when it's dark,
And, like,
cold,
battling everybody.
and trying
I mean, that's a huge advantage because wouldn't he paddle out one of your spare boards and you
Yeah.
could swap out there and be like, okay, no, this
Yeah.
is the one I'll use my heat.
I mean, the most important heat of my career, with Ethan Ewing, they had to start the event basically at sunrise. There's a little light. We paddled out in the dark with my
Wow.
jersey on. And
Wow.
we couldn't really see the waves.
It looks
No.
6 to 8.
It looked 6 to 8 feet.
Couldn't see the waves, couldn't see the great
It was
whites.
hectic. It was hectic. So we paddled out with 2 boards. He paddled out on a 511. I took my 6.0 out. And I really wanted to ride the 511 because I've been riding it the whole event. I really liked that board. But it looked big. So we got out there. It's dark. We had like 5 minutes to catch a wave. And he was out there in the corner, and I caught one wave. And he just said, let's switch boards. And I was like, I was pretty nervous to do that because, I don't know, Margaret River, you might need a big board if it's 8 feet, 6 feet. It's a pretty strong wave, But I just trusted him, jumped on the 511, and then right before he went in, before the heat was starting, he was basically in the lineup as the heat started. He gave me a slight information that helped me at the last 9 seconds of the heat. He said, there's a corner bowl. It looks like a closeout. You can get 2 big turns. Like, go on that wave. And, yeah, he went in. And what do you know? Like, the last, minute of the heat, I needed an 8. And that wave came. I was under priority. Just made it into the lineup. Like, jumped off the jet ski. I saw the set coming, paddling as hard as I could. Got into the lineup. I just got into the lineup and this wave was coming and Ethan was looking at it and I was a little deep, but I just went. He pulled back, and then I got my score right there.
But I was out there and I was like, it looked big to me. I mean, everything looks big to me, but it was like, God, it's suddenly like pretty soft 6 feet. And I think Ethan was riding a 6'4" and was sitting a little closer to the channel, and those waves were kind of like dying out. They didn't stand up that much. And one thing that we do is we get the perspective from where the judges are looking from. So, it just had this wave that Seth went on. It really stood up nicely. And as I was sitting a little in that corner, I did see this potential. I'm like, Seth, this is your out. You look for this wave. It does not close out. You'll get 2 huge turns. But what's really crazy about that all kind of symmetry was when we checked into our Airbnb, the clock was stuck at 8:43. Clock was stuck at 8:43. Walked in the Airbnb, looked at the clock. It was 8:43, and I pointed to him. I'm like, "That's the score."
Damn, that's
Like
crazy.
day 1, 2 weeks earlier. I'm like, "You see that?"
Wow.
Trippy.
And he got. You did.
All
get
the
an 8,
signs
got an
were there.
8:43.
You just had to look for it.
Yeah. So anything you wish for is always right in front of you. And that was like, when I saw that, I was like, I knew we were on the right plane and the right path for success. I just needed to manage, the witchcraft in a sense, and guide the frequency and bend the energy and find the portals. And most importantly, what I wanted him kind of the most, I didn't really tell him, was, he's doing these the trilogy shows with Ethan and Griffin,
Mm-hmm.
and Seth was kind of like, I don't know, just was like, so good, but just like I needed him to shine. I wanted him to like feel really comfortable to be with these guys that are really really good. So I just really wanted him to go surfing. I wanted him to like really open up and be free and fall in love with it again, and have the judges fall in love with him, have his fans and his peers, his prior coaches, ex-girlfriends, dead dogs, whatever.
It's an important part.
Sorry, I'm
That's
very
key.
emotional. But but these were the these are the goals. This is the quest to just have this. So after that great surf, I mean semifinals, probably thought we could have won, but we were just a little bit lost in like the whole oopla of everything. But we flew to Sydney after that, and they had a premiere, a trilogy premiere with Ethan and Griffin, and he asked me to go, and I'm like, well, bro, this is everything that the work that we did. You're gonna go, hold your head up high, and you're gonna be like, now you're gonna feel like you actually belong with these elite surfers. And when I got on the plane home, I was like, I think I just did my job, and
Yeah.
I just knew that there was so much more of that. Was like all the work I've done with Kai for years, all the work I've done with all my students in the past. You know, it was just like every sacrifice, every, like whatever I go through on a daily basis.
We'll get into it on the next podcast.
Sorry about that. But like, I got on the plane. I was like, oh, thank you, God. Thank you, Goddess. Thank you, Lord. Thank you, Lordess. That everything I've invested over decades, that I was able to make this beautiful, so selfless, loving, dynamic surfer like shine. And I got on that plane, and I was like, I'm good.
Screaming.
I'm good. I was just
Yeah.
I'm good. Like I'm like, I did it. Like okay, I'm ready for the next. But God damn it, that was crazy.
No, I think it was so clear watching that event that something shifted. And kind of I've known you, like you said, for like 8 years.
Yeah.
And from the start, you've always talked about frequencies and portals. And my brain's always like, what the heck is this guy talking about? It seems borderline insane. But I think after seeing that, it kind of made sense. It's getting on that sort of, I don't know, wavelength of being psyched, being excited. And I think everyone could see it in your surfing in that event. It looked like you were just wanting it so bad. And not in a sense that's just like, it's about staying on tour, the sponsors or anything. It was like, it was almost for the love of it that you just looked like you had fun surfing. And I think that's probably when people do their best surfing, is if you're just having a good time, which I think that's sort of what you guys were able to unearth in that, which was pretty sick to see.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, exactly. You nailed it. Like, to be honest, I get so excited going surfing with Doug. Like, he gets me out of bed in the morning to go surf. Because there's a lot of times where I'm not necessarily excited to go surf 2-foot slop, or if the waves aren't overhead and really fun, I'm just like, you could really skip out on it. But being with this guy, he's super frothed out, and he gets you excited to go surfing, even if it's bad, just to get in the water every day and surf. And I'm the type of person that needs that push. I've always been that person. I needed a little like push to get out there more, to like just get on my surfboard every day, Love surfing, but it was just something I really needed. And I knew that in the back of my head for a long time before bringing this guy. But, there were parts of me that was like, what's the dynamic going to be like? But I think first trip, we had the best time ever with my filmer, Cole, Yamane, Hammer Time, made all our videos up there. We were just nonstop laughing, making these videos together, edits, and it was just a good time.
Yeah.
Like,
We just, we draw like part of the like motivation is to, just we're so blessed. We're healthy. We're strong. We have these gifts. We're like all of us are like 0.000001% that have this like certain skill set on Earth to be able to dance and to like paint on these like crazy canvases. You know, your guys' canvases are crazy, and you know, pipeline, whatever. But so I'm just hyper motivated to like paint and to express and to like split atoms and to like go fast and like stay in like the best shape in the world, you know, and just you know, manage the people in the water, the potential clients, the haters, the lovers, and we just want to like bring like the speed and energy and the power, and so they just pretty much succumb to like your your alpha
Your aura.
ness, but in a really positive way, not, you know, like just to like, you know, in a very inspirational way. So that's where I draw a lot of my motivation from, is to just continue just to like surf the best I absolutely possibly can. So our whole motto this year is to surf better. Like if you're bitching, if you're complaining, you know, pardon my language, but like if you're like talking crap about other people, you're not surfing better. You're obviously not surfing better. So the ones that are surfing better don't really say anything. John didn't really say much last year. Pretty much just surfed better than anyone.
So true.
He's like, that was great inspiration, you know. So I just want to, what I say, and like obviously I have a lot to say, but what I share is just they're motivational, and they're just realizations, and they're just perspectives, and it would never be about anyone or about anything. We're all have our own codes of how to operate on this earth and in the water. And we always wish everyone the best with prosperity and success. And that's, you know, part of our success is their success. So, and that's a little bit of what we do. Can't tell you everything.
That's pretty darn cool.
Yeah.
I want to know, like, I think a lot of surfers probably wonder this. Let's take it back to like when you first got on tour. You know, you're one of 30 of the best surfers on earth. You know, there's probably a million surfers out, or more than a million, tens of millions of surfers out there.
25.
And you get to this level where you're competing against the top 30. What is it like sort of rising up to that level? And I'd imagine it would be like a big confidence thing, you know, where they talk about sort of imposter syndrome. You know, I want to know if there was any of that where you're like, okay, I'm on this level. All these guys are so gnarly. How do you get over that sort of mental hump? And Doug talked about it a bit, but I just want to know like your specific journey of it. Like how do you get to feel like, okay, I belong here. I can go for world titles. This is what I'm made to do essentially.
Yeah. I mean, my QS, I started off in the QS at 17. I had, you know, first year was just like, first couple years, I was just having fun partying on the QS, not even thinking about qualifying. I got to a point where I was doing so bad on the QS, I think I was ranked 250th the year before I qualified. And that was a big, just like heart wrench. I was just like, wow, what am I doing? You know, I'm 19 now. My friend Griffin just qualified. I should probably take next year very serious. And I did. I started training a bunch, whatever, got focused. I qualified that year. And then I'm like, holy shit, I just did it. You know, I put my mind to something finally and actually committed to something. And I qualified. And I think that year on the QS was like the biggest learning experience for me, to learning that hard work works. You know, you work hard at something, and even if you fail, at least you tried hard. So I did that, qualified, got on tour. And yeah, I don't know. I was a young kid. I was 20, going on 21. Had a lot of energy, a lot of youth in me. And I just carried that confidence from the QS because I had a phenomenal year. I was second on the ratings. And I felt like that first year, I honestly felt more confident that year than I did last year.
Interesting.
Which is crazy. And
wow.
and there was gnarly guys. I mean, there was still the Jeremy Flores, Michelle Perez, Kelly. There's still that old OG generation that was still on there. And yeah, I did really well that year. Had some breakthroughs. And then from then, I feel like it's just been an uphill battle for myself to find that again. And, you know, struggles. Even though I'm still on tour, you know, this is my 6th year, which is kind of crazy. Yeah, my 6th year on tour starting. And it's just been an uphill battle, and I finally feel like I'm at the point where I want to be, and the confidence I have that I know I can surf against the best guys in the world. Because it took me a long time to find that, and to find that maturity of kind of just getting out of that young body, that young mentality. Because, yeah, it's tough. You know, when you're coming against these guys, your heroes, you kind of have to just forget about all that. And you know, that's kind of exactly what my motto with Doug has been, is just surfing better, getting out there and having fun. And honestly, my heat in Margaret River changed the whole dynamic on how I approach heats, because he told me, just go out there and catch waves.
Yeah.
Like, go surfing, you're in Waikiki, go surf, have fun, catch waves. And we did that, and it worked. And I've been carrying that through the rest of the year, and you know, it allows me to free up, you know, like it just allows me to free up and not put that pressure on myself of thinking about, oh, the cut, requalifying, thinking about how I look or whatever, you know, those insecurities. So
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that makes so much sense. And just for people that don't know too, if you've never surfed with one of these CT guys, it's pretty shocking. You know, you watch it on TV and you see them surf, but you don't realize that all these waves are really difficult to surf. You know, if you know, us normal surfers, you go out and maybe once a year you put together a wave that maybe would be a 6 on the tour, and these guys go out in every session. We were surfing the other day at one of your local spots here, and first wave, drop in, turn, shifty air, land straight into an air reverse. And every time I surf with one of you guys, it's always like a reminder of like, okay, that's the level. And just to think that you're having to go into these heats, and that's the expectation.
Yeah,
That's
it's
the
a standard.
baseline, is that you have to surf at such an unbelievable
That
level.
wave was unsurfable too.
It was a
Like,
terrible wave.
We were dying out there.
Yeah.
yeah, it's crazy. I mean, being able to surf with the best guys in the world, you know, you get better yourself.
Yeah.
And guys like Ethan Ewing and Griffin, they're putting out straight movie parts on their free surfs. So, yeah, I feel it's definitely taken me a long time to come into this stage that I'm at now, to feel like comfortable in my own skin and confident in every session I go out in, you know, like confident that I can keep up and perform and, you know, have good performances. And I think that's a lot of thanks to Doug, the last year we had together, and then just, you know, board changes as well. You know, I worked hard on my boards the last couple of years to get that dialed. So yeah, it's just like, it's a long time coming for me to this moment, to this year, you know, and for the rest of my career.
Yeah, we have a great year ahead of us for sure.
Yeah.
It's really compact coming up after Pipe Abu Dhabi, and we're going to be on the road for a few good months. So really excited for that. I've been kind of already preparing for that. I have kind of been ahead of you in that regard, you know, like you've been kind of healing and stuff. But like I've been already kind of like putting thoughts and I have playlists. I have a pipeline playlist ready. Though, you know, I'm already kind of forecasting the travel, the surfing that we're going to be doing, the surfing I want to be doing, you know, like bringing like just speed and spray and ferocity. Like I want to be doing the best surfing of my life, you know, just to like keep him on going. You know what I mean? Like, God, this guy, like,
Yeah.
why don't you just stop? You know, but it's like, we're on. Like, we want to go send these guys to like Bethlehem.
Yeah, nothing's more
You know what I mean?
nothing yeah.
You're going to, oh, where is that other place? Valhalla.
Nothing's more motivating too than when you go for free surf with your coach and he's just flaring Like that must get you pretty fired
Yeah.
up. Like, and it's just like, okay, that's instantly that's the level. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it's super cool. I mean, he's ripping. He's how old are you? 56?
Yeah. 56.
Yes, 56 and shredding water,
So sick. With a
taming.
6-pack.
Yeah, with the 6-pack, this guy. I mean, all we were eating in Margaret River was straight up
And
beef.
yeah,
Like we ate steak and eggs
all day,
all day
So
long. This
good.
guy's grilling me meat, and I'm just
all day.
laying back. He's just feeding me steak, and we're just eating steak all breakfast, lunch, and dinner.
We're gonna be on our third steak
So-
tonight.
Oh, I woke up this morning, walked out of the room, and there's just the biggest steak just
Yeah.
sizzling and a stick of butter this big just
Yeah.
on top. And I was
Full
like,
carnivore.
Bulletproof. So
Acai bowls and steak.
Yeah, Bridge has
venison.
been living with me here for like the last 2-3 weeks. It's been awesome, to share time with him. But he's definitely getting a absolute
love it.
bird's eye view of the day in the life, and then not so much the night of, but definitely the day in the life. Day in the life.
it
Of.
gets me fired up. I could see that. I feel like I'm getting on that frequency,
Right.
which I need.
Right, where it's
You
just
know,
like
I'm fired up, residually.
I've got a espresso in one hand and a piece of meat in the other. That's a great title for the show.
That might be it right there.
That could be it.
Dang. Yeah, let's see what else I wanted to ask. I wanted to ask you about that one session you had at Jaws. We talk about, obviously, this may be considered a big wave podcast, so we need to get your thoughts on that.
Yeah.
I think that was one of the better first sessions someone's had paddling in at Jaws. What was that, 2016?
It was a long
Something
time
like
ago.
that,
Yeah, I was
yeah.
18 years old.
But you just went off the rocks straight into a
Yeah.
nug.
Well,
Tell us
kind
how
of
it
everyone's
happened
dream
first,
wave
though.
out
You
there.
were
What was that
minding
like,
your
just
own business
going
on the
straight
North
into
Shore.
it like that.
Yeah, I mean, well, did you hear what your brother said? I'll explain from the beginning. He was asking, how did that happen? How did that session happen? So, it was the morning of the Eddie Aikau, and I was a Grom staying at the Billabong house, and it's Eddie. I was getting up early to go watch it. I'm in the living room at the Billabong house, and I'm just watching TV. The call of the Eddie got called off. And so I'm just cruising there, like with my hoodie on, like super tired. And then Shane Dorian walks in the house with the board, and it's my dad's colors on it.
Wow.
And I like look back, I see everybody like looking, and I look back, and I'm like, oh, like my first thought was like, oh, sick, he has my dad's board. And he was like passing it to me. I was like, oh, I was just thought he was like gifting me my dad's board that he had or something. That was my first like thought.
Give me my board back.
Yeah, I was like, oh, sick, no way. And then he's like, what's up, Seth? I was like, what's up, Shane? Like, how are you? And he said, yeah, we're going to Jaws. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, me and you, we're going to Jaws right now. Pack your bags. Like, go upstairs, pack your bags. Our flights are booked. We have a flight to catch. It's at 10 a.m. And I'm just like, kind of like in disbelief. Like, what do you mean? Like, what do you mean we're going to Jaws? Like, what the that was not in my mind to ever go surf Jaws, And I was like, all right, are you serious? He's like, yep. Then I looked at my parents, and they're like, yeah, you're going to Jaws right now. I'm like, is this legal?
How old were you? 2016.
I think I might have just turned 18,
Oh, no way.
17, 18 or whatever.
Wow.
And so, yeah, I went upstairs, packed my bag, and went straight to the airport, and went to Jaws. And yeah, it was a crazy, like, surreal moment driving down with Shane, and I was in the car with Jackson Dorian. I think he was like 6 years old. He was a baby.
Whoa.
It was hilarious. And now he's, ripping and charging. But first session going out, I had no intentions of really trying to go after it. I was like, all right, maybe I get a few waves. I know these guys been obviously planning this video for a while. Like, I should try to get a wave.
You
But-
gotta get away.
Yeah, I don't know. As soon as I got out there and sat in the lineup, I waited like 30 minutes, got one wave, got warmed up, and then I just like instantly felt comfortable. Like, got one after my first wave. I also saw a few people out there that were surfing that I see in the lineup some places else, and I'm like,
I could do it.
I think I can do this.
If they can do it, I can do it.
If that guy can do it, I think I can do it. I'm in. And so yeah, I just progressively started getting better waves, and I surfed 2 days on that trip, and I think honestly it's probably like the best it's ever been.
Oh, it looks so
Like,
good.
it was so clean. I don't
Well, if
remember
you-
seeing a better day since then, to be honest.
If you remember it, I think that year Shane Dorian won. It was probably one of the craziest big wave seasons
Yeah.
of all time. But he won Performer of the Year and he won Ride of the Year with the
Yeah.
wave in that session.
It was
you
in
were
that
there.
session. I watched
Yeah.
that wave. I was paddling back out, just got a wave, and I saw that wave right in front of me. Which is crazy.
He treats it like it's backdoor or something,
Yeah.
6 foot backdoor.
But watching you were out. I watched guys like Tori Meister, Billy. I found like a new, I don't know, watching that was just crazy to me because I watched Tori Meister paddling up this wave on a small board and just whipping it last second and just sending it on this wave, backdooring it like it was backdoor.
Wow.
And also seeing you guys sit out the back and getting those bombs. But I don't know. From that, after that session, I really thought I was gonna go back there and like maybe dabble in the big wave stuff a little bit more. But I haven't been back since.
Oh, you gotta come back.
I'm definitely gonna come back, and I actually ordered boards last year, so I have boards at my house, ready.
Who shaped them?
Takoro. Yeah,
Takoro's
wait,
sick.
Takoro. So I got a couple boards ready for Jaws. But it just honestly, I'm on tour now, and it takes a lot of your time, and then you kind of think of like, oh, I can't get hurt and all those things. But there's a time for that. I think maybe in the future that I go surf Jaws and chase that a bit more. I'd love to do the Eddie one year. I got invited last year, so that was like a good opportunity. They didn't run, but yeah, I think there's definitely something I want to chase maybe after competing a bunch, because I really did enjoy that experience, and I got good waves. I got a barrel that I never made, and being in a barrel at Jaws is like nothing else. It's like I remember going back to backdoor and not even wanting to surf. I'm like, yeah, that's cute.
Yeah, do you think part of the reason why you were instantly so comfortable, because I've seen it a lot with good surfers that come, say, from the North Shore over to surf Jaws, do you think it's just because you get out there and you realize this is a perfect wave and it's not that much different than what I'm used to? It's just a little bit bigger scale.
Yeah, sure. It was, I think as soon as I figured out the lineup and knew where I was safe to sit and kind of got over that hump of being scared of getting cleaned out by a 20-footer, as soon as I figured out the lineup and which waves were good, I got really comfortable because I felt like I could make the drops. And I really, from that session, I never really rode a board over 8.0. So it just took me time to get used to like where to even stand up on the board. Where do I put my feet? How do I bottom turn this thing? And when I figured that out, I just got a ton of confidence. So I think, yes, being like maybe a competitive surfer and being a high performance surfer can fully translate to the big wave world if you have the balls to go out there and get over that ledge,
Yeah, for sure. Kai and I always talk about it. It's there's such a strong parallel between being a really good small wave surfer and instantly becoming a really good big wave surfer. Like you were saying, there's a lot of guys that you'll see in some of these big wave lineups where the day before we see him surfing Okipa, and you're like, oh yeah, that guy's having a good time or whatever, and then you go out and you're just like, you're out here right now,
Yeah.
and their ratio of makes is significantly less, and they've been maybe surfing it for years. But then a guy like you, who's an extremely talented small wave, or small, relatively speaking, wave surfer, you're instantly locked in and you may not fall on a wave the whole session. And if you do, it's because you were too deep in a huge barrel.
One of the things that Kai and I worked on initially years back was his small wave surfing. And I think we went to Inside Chun's. I had like a 7'9" Wayne Lynch, classic 17 and a half inches wide, little swallowtail. But I remember during that time, like Shane and Ian Walsh being such great small wave surfers. And I just wanted, I love small waves, but in Kai, we surfed small waves a lot. And it was super beneficial for his big wave surfing to just know the angles and to where to find those seamless parts on the wave for speed, just based on Shane and Ian Walsh's, from 1 foot to 30 feet, they were the best. So for Kai to be the best, we needed to get that 1 to 5 feet, window secured. So that all that small wave surfing was really beneficial for your big wave stuff. So, yeah, he can surf small waves now.
Yeah.
Great. So
No, it's a very obvious correlation.
Yeah, it is. It definitely, like you said, watching, if you're at Hokipa the day before and seeing a guy, maybe not with the best ability, and then the next day you go out to Jaws and he's out there, but he's getting bombs. He's like taking off on huge waves, charging.
The funny thing is, though, is a lot of those guys, you don't ever even see them surf small waves. Like, I only see them out at Jaws. I don't see them at
most of
Hokipa
them,
or
right?
anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm like, do you guys even surf when it's not 50 feet?
I mean, the other day when we were surfing that wave near my house, there was a guy out there. I don't know if you knew him, but he's a big wave surfer.
Really? I didn't even know.
And, I bet if, I told you, hey, that guy, whatever, he surfs big waves, you would have been like, what? Not to like rag on these guys that they're not capable, but, that's just the reality of it. They're just focused on big waves, so they're not, the best small wave surfers. But it is funny. I think for a lot of like competitive guys, I think a lot of guys on tour would go surf Jaws and do really, really well.
Yeah, 100%.
Like 100%. Like Gabriel would kill it out there.
What do you
Any of
think-
those top guys.
Seth, what do you think? I've been trying to tell anyone that would listen at the WSL that they need to have a floating big wave event throughout the entire season. And whenever any one of these big wave spots goes off, they can throw an event and it would be like a CT event. And obviously during the Hawaii season, have it at Jaws just, ready. I think because it would take big wave surfing to another level, especially on the paddling, and some of the backside surfing probably has the most progress to be made on that right. And guys like Gabriel, and I mean, you'd be instantly comfortable there because you've surfed it, but then, and you treat it like backdoor. But I just think it'd be the sickest thing if they turned that.
That would be
into a
insane.
Would that
would
be scary or
crazy.
what?
Hell yeah. I mean, it's still scary. Like, I know
But
I surfed
imagine-
it and-
Imagine how hard everyone would be pushing it because it's
No,
before the
yeah.
cut, and if you have to
Yeah.
go, like you're
it would
sending.
be
and,
nuts. It'd
hey,
be
you
crazy.
can skip the event, but those are points, and maybe the winner gets a brand new Sea-Doo.
There would be guys skipping the event. I guaranteed you that.
You think?
I mean,
Yeah.
maybe they don't.
Maybe not
re-qualify.
skipping, but just they'll paddle out and not catch a wave.
I think you could, and
There's a
each
handful of
replacement
guys.
for everyone that misses it, each replacement could be some big wave surfer. So you
Yeah,
might,
there you
get
go.
a local wild card,
You,
just like
Kai
normal,
would get
but,
in, Billy, Ian Walsh. Maybe
but you
throw
just
Shane
get
out
more
there.
and more of the regulars if people drop out. But I think the first year it'd be like people would be over it. The second year it'd still be on the fence, and hopefully by the third year people would be like psyching for it. Okay, I got my boards dialed, and
That's a crazy idea, and I feel like that would draw in so many viewers. Like,
Yeah.
people would
it'd be the
all
most
over
watched
that.
event ever. A
100%.
CT at Jaws, like. But it doesn't need to run when it's 50 feet. It
Nah.
could run when it's 20 foot, and be pretty approachable. January, there's always,
Totally.
giant waves.
Gosh,
And
that'd be so cool.
I've asked a lot of the best big wave riders, and they'd all agree. They're like, "Oh, we'd love that," and so they'd be willing to be there and either, I'm sure what would end up happening is a lot of people would look to a lot of these big wave surfers as maybe coaches out there,
Yeah.
just for the day.
Yeah.
Oh, obviously you'd have Doug because Doug actually reads
we'd
that
have
wave
you.
like a
would
2-foot
have
wave.
both
It's
of
a
you.
2-foot wave that's 60 feet.
It is. It's
Um,
VLAN. Like
it's
when I was
VLAN.
out there, I was like, that's what I referenced it to was VLAN. I was like, well, this is like a big VLAN. Like exactly. Like there's that little West Bowl and the outside peak, and you can kind of choose your spot.
But you remember that bottom turn you did, and you were climbing up the face for like 80 feet, and then you lost all your speed and had to like windsurf your way into the flats.
Yeah.
It's kind of a famous wave,
Mm-hmm.
But we've learned a lot by surfing smaller waves on maybe cutting your bottom turn off a little earlier, so when we climb that 80-foot face, we don't lose all our speed. Yes.
Right. Exactly.
A little
But-
harder to do it on a big wave, though. No.
I mean, so there's like this weird thing, like we want to go to the bottom on a big wave, 80, 100-foot wave, whatever you guys are doing, to make the wave look bigger. But Kai has been doing like really incredible surfing out there. He's been cutting his bottom turn off a little bit, and then he's hitting these apexes, as he would like at 3 foot down the street here. So, but that was, something that we would definitely discuss for these guys. But these guys are so good, the Medinas and
Oh,
John,
take
obviously, Ryan Callahan's, all these other different tier surfers, but they're all really good, but they're just all in that same sort of like
Give
Ryan
you guys-
Callahan's and,
I mean, give you guys a reason to go surf big waves, because right now it's just you could get a big wave, it'll be maybe fun, but you could also get really hurt, and there goes your season. But
why don't we could just go surf Sunset Beach.
But I mean, yeah, it's more dangerous at Sunset Beach nowadays because you have just big wave Daves out the back, and actually more scared of the boards coming in on each wave than actually riding that wave.
Yeah.
But their boards are bigger than the wave. It's not a good sign. If your board
I think they should make a rule out at sunset, go old school, no leashes at sunset.
Yeah.
It would just,
I mean-
it'd probably thin the crowd a little.
I mean, it would definitely. I sit inside those guys, so that would be pretty gnarly. But that would be pretty gnarly. But yeah, I mean, there's when we go surfing, there's so many different interpretations. Everyone's having a completely different experience. I'm out there to displace water, shift the reef around, go as fast as I can, and flex, and like kiss the sky, and do the cam rewind. Some people aren't as narcissistic, and they just want to go and have a very peaceful experience. Maybe they're having some troubles at home, and they want to go out there and relax and have find some sort of like harmony with Mother Nature. So I always am kind of really conscious of everyone's experience out there. Some of them just want to be a part of the big wave culture and get that
Yep.
dipper or put that vest on when it's 8 feet, which I probably could have used that one day. Thank you for saving me. So as I've gotten older, wiser, and just been more aware of everyone else's experience in the water, just because I'm out there to,
Conquer.
create plate tectonics and, drown in my own spray and all this great stuff. There's other people out there to like,
Just trying to enjoy
That's a good point, for sure.
check out the rainbows and the mountains and their surroundings. So I'm always.
What's the weirdest thing, Seth, right? Like, Doug, this question for both of you guys, but like, surfing really is one of the only sports where, in order to train, in order to get ready for an event, even if it's right before, it's not like somebody in the NBA who can play basketball and warm up and shoot hoops, but now you're just having to play with a bunch of anybody, random people. And
Yeah.
in surfing, it's such a finite resource, waves, that, trying to warm up, you like, on a competitive side, you're trying to get as many waves as you can to get warmed up and make subtle adjustments because rhythm is everything. But at the same time, you might just be like, smoking anyone else out there from getting a wave because you're obviously one of the best paddlers and you have to be on the tour and such. But it's such an interesting dynamic trying to train and warm up as a professional surfer.
Yes. Yeah, it's tough.
You know, and you got to find those corners. And I know Doug is always, and I'm sure you too, Seth, but you're looking for all those corners to even the worst wave, but just to put
Just
reps
to have
in.
a moment. You know, you have every event we go to, it's a full scene, and the locals there, rightfully so, can surf their home break. But then you even get these travelers that come in and they just want to surf around, you know, the best pro surfers. But a lot of the time, it's not like they are there to watch and sit back and like, oh, like, wow. It's more they're there to battle us.
Whoa.
They're
Really?
battling. Like, they're trying to take our waves.
If you ever-
I battle them. I love that.
Doug loves it. I mean, I'm not really.
Doug is ready to go toe to toe.
He's ready.
I battle the travelers.
My theory is I just send Doug in on them, and Doug
Sick
battles
'em.
them and goes right, and then I'll go left, or vice versa.
It's a good strategy.
Yeah.
He's been my secret weapon to get
Oh wow,
waves.
it's awesome to create
Yeah.
space. Yeah.
Create space.
Yes.
He'll go straight, and then I'll just take the wave.
I know Kai and I were we're pretty good on our markers at sunset, and people just are like, they get really mad. We're like, are we on the button again? Yeah, we're
We
going.
just can't help
Just
but be in the
kept
right
going.
place.
People were just appalled, like just mortified in the water. But it was just, hey, it was a lot of pro surfers out there. When it's kind of like other pro surfers and you're on the spot, it's just, the factor of greed is not there. It's just, I'm on the spot, I'm going, and you're out of rhythm. I'm sorry.
Figure it
And
out.
it's not like there's other locals out there and you're being a wave hog, because we always want to be like conscious of, our positioning in the water, anywhere we go in Hawaii or anywhere around the world. We just don't want to be that person. So we definitely want to create space, pick up a lot of waves initially in the beginning on the inside, and, let them drift a little bit and just keep an eye on our markers. We can always, be Johnny or Jeannie on the spot now that there's only two genders. Sorry. Jeannie on the spot, Johnny on the spot. I don't know. But anyways.
Definitely put that one.
Here we go. You can cut that. If
Yeah,
you,
cancel.
you
We'll
can
just
cut that
delete
if you
the whole
want,
podcast
whatever.
now.
But
We're
I
live,
mean,
Doug.
we're speaking, and we have spoken. So thank you guys so much for your time. Any other questions and topics that we would like to go into before we fire up another steak, Kai?
It's steak time.
If you're gonna be gone long enough, are you getting rid of the Audi?
Oh.
Wait,
Uh,
I have to say so. If I win the world title,
When?
sorry,
We're changing our language.
when I win the world title, Doug is gonna give me his Audi.
Yeah.
Because
Whoa.
I asked
That's
him.
pretty sick.
I asked him the other day. I was like, "Hey, can I buy your Audi one day? Like maybe when you get a little older,
Yeah.
when you can't drive, I'll drive you
Yeah.
to old folks' home."
Stick shift. When I get older, yeah.
But
the
if-
problem is Doug's gonna outlive us all.
probably, to be
Yeah.
honest, yeah, he will. But if nobody probably knows this, but Doug has the sickest Audi. It's basically
Sleeper.
yeah, it's a sleeper. It looks like a normal, just I don't even know what it's called. What is it called?
It's an S4,
S4.
and it's a manual, supercharged, tune, quattro, CTS, air in turbo intake, and tuned with Revo dual pulleys, and let's go. Like it's all
But-
about torqueology.
I went in that car and I was
Doug,
I was scared. I couldn't believe it. It really felt like you're in a Lamborghini. Honestly,
So,
probably
Doug-
better than that.
after you give Seth
My
your
car.
Audi, what are you gonna get?
Well, I'm gonna probably get an RS6 because I'll be getting a fat check at the end of the year. So I'll be
Upgrade it.
I'll be upgrading there shortly thereafter, and then I'll give him that car when he wins the next world title. So yeah, we have a plan. for
Hey,
sure.
this
Good
might
system.
be this might be the year. The final 5 is at Cloudbreak, one of the best barreling waves in the world, and you're one of the best barrel riders on earth. So even if you came in 5th, you could just go
Yeah.
through everyone all the way to numero uno.
Seth's backside barrel riding is like crazy.
And turns too.
Yeah,
like
really,
your
really, really good.
combination.
So, yeah, we just we will miss John. He's such an inspiration, the quintessential professional champion. Like this guy's so good. He has his own program, which is not something that we align with, but it's perfect. He found his system and his code to be successful. So we're so blessed for him, and anyone else that can find those codes to success. And we wish Gabriel Medina. I love surfing with him. We're such fans of Gabriel. God, this guy is just like
He's built different.
dude. Like you just go out with him at night once for an hour. It's just like I just want to come back pretty next time. So we miss you, Gabriel. Please heal up. We know you're already probably healed, and
He's just cruising now.
stoked that Alan, well deserved. Such an amazing, all around, incredible surfer. We're really blessed to have him on tour, and one of our favorite friends, dear friend Ian Jatil. We get to see him surf, who's a sleeper and going to be motivating us, and someone that we're going to keep an eye on to to draw some inspiration from. His lines, his speed. He's really good, and we're really blessed to watch him surf as well. And he's a great guy. We really love Ian. So thank you. Lenny Bros, Kai, you're one of my very best friends. So blessed. Get to spend time with your brother here. And Seth, so grateful for you to join us and sharing this wonderful journey with you. I'm so grateful. Thank you.
Epic. Well, thanks for coming on, guys. This was fun.
We'll have to do a
Really
catch
fun.
up soon, a couple events in when Seth is leading the tour.
This is the goal.
Yeah, let's get an update.
Let's go.
Yeah, thank you guys so much. Yeah.
That was very poetic. This guy's very good with his words.
Solo
Eloquent.
podcast with
Yeah,
Doug's
it's
coming
crazy.
next. We're going to get all the lore.
We're gonna get
Oh gosh, the
Yeah.
world's not ready.
He has a lot of untold stories that he hasn't revealed yet, and we're going to try to pull them out.
Do you have like an age limit on this podcast?
That
Maybe,
one's
like,
might
clip
have
it
to be
18 and
21 plus.
21
NC
plus.
17.
Even if you're over 18, you're
Yeah.
probably not ready for these
He
stories.
can tell you all about his Gabriel Medina stories.
1 hour. There was just one moment. There was just one moment for sure. Just seeing him, the magnetism.
He's basically saying Gabriel's just surrounded by lots of females, beautiful Brazilian females.
As I sat back, you sit back and just you're like, to have such a draw.
An aura.
Yeah, it's great. Yeah, it's great. I mean, I have had that, for one beautiful person. That's really important to me. Yeah, it was great to see that dynamic. We miss you, Medina. We'll see you soon.
Yeah.
And thank you guys.
All right, we'll see you guys later.
Good luck. Cancelled. DougSilva.com if you want to go block me, restrict me, 100%.
Or just get a surf lesson.
Or if you want to get a surf lesson.
Although
or
you're gonna be
if
pretty busy.
You need like someone to write a poem for your wife or girlfriend. I will write it for you. Thank you guys.
There we go.